I'll have
We
to.
are live.
Oh, I got it. We are. Okay, cool. Well, hello, everybody. It is
Hi.
Letitia Campbell, like James says. We have a really amazing discussion about to start, but I'm going to start it off with this quote. So there's this book called The Untethered Soul. It's amazing. And there are cards, like these little cards that are attached to it. So I picked this card the other day and I'm going to be sharing. It is so powerful. But it says, break the habit of thinking that the solution to your problems is to rearrange things outside. The only permanent solution to your problems is to go inside and let go of the part of you that seems to have so many problems with reality. And I think this is so powerful and relevant because in general, I think that's what we do, right? Is a lot of times we're like, oh, I have a problem with this. So we try and fix things in our environment. We might try and, I don't like Southern California. I'm going to move to whatever, Texas, because, their taxes or whatever. But, the real work happens when we change something inside of us that has the problem with that thing on the outside. That's when true change happens, right? And I'm going to head to the car. So I'm going to pass it to somebody and then I'll talk a little bit more in a little bit, but I'm going to get in the car real quick.
Okay. Thanks, Tisha. Yeah, I'm all about the internal shift as well, like getting aware of what's underlining my choice right now. That's tricky to do because when we're stuck in the victim or the trauma of the situation and experience, it's very hard to go and sit and meditate or go and sit in stillness for 5 minutes and really check in with yourself, because that's a real mastery that takes time over time to get mastered in. I mean, it's possible because we're definitely able to do that. But yeah, really, that's when you phone a friend that really can hold space for you with no conditions, like someone really loving and someone that can really listen without having to tell you the answer so you can find your own, or just guide you until you can find the answer that keeps you in a safe space. So yeah, anyone with an addiction, really make sure they get help of any kind, or if you're in that victim game or blame game, judgment game, all of those pieces just keep us stuck, more stagnant, and not in that beautiful creative flow. And it happens to every one of us. Like, we're in it 1 minute, we're out the next, we're living life, having an amazing life the next. It could be for a year, it could be 5 years, and then we're back into some emotional polarity, like shadow work, where it comes back out. And we recognize it, like with your family members, like my daughter, when she got sick, it brought me into that shadow work because I had to then really deal with her health, but also understand where my action was in all of it. Like, because I had a lot of guilt about the outcome, not that I really created it, it was genetic, as in she was born like that. In a way, I created it because I'm her mother, but you know what I mean? Like, there is no need for guilt. But I still had guilt because what if I could have done this differently as I went along and supported her differently? And so all of those aspects, when we come back to ourselves and really go inwards, we discover it's not our fault and it's not my daughter's fault. Like, it's just the way the cards were dealt. And then from there, I can deal with it in a new mindset, a new vibration, a new joyful place, so that she can experience life in the physical senses as much as possible and have fun before we do return to heaven or the angelic realm or wherever we're going dimensionally. So it's just about enjoying life, really finding the happiness within, no matter where you are struggling. Just keep finding the joy and keep moving in that momentum of creating the best life possible.
Love that. You know, Callie, one thing I really want to acknowledge you for something because I love how you were talking about how you call up the friend and being able to have that genuine space for them to actually come up with the answer. I just want to say you do that. Like you hold space in a way where anytime you're asking me a question or anytime you are, I'm not trying to like the word of coaching, but you always share in a way where it allows me to go within myself so that I come up with the answer. And it's like you're like the guide guiding me there. And I think that's really powerful because a lot of times, sometimes when we go to somebody for advice and then they just give us the advice, it really didn't give us the space to come up and formulate the answer. So I just wanted to thank you for being that for us.
Thank you, teacher. Appreciate you as well. Your wisdom's incredible. So thank you. And James, do you have anything?
Yeah, it's one of those issues that I have very regularly with the understanding, and I try to find an anchor point, and I see why people have their beliefs because it's an anchor. But an anchor to what? Like in NLP, they want you to anchor to a source, right? Rather than a book. It has to do with the mind and how people operate and how we can communicate better. And the communication skills primarily in cells. But like for me, I think, okay, all my problems are not on the outside, or all my situations are not on the outside. Nothing is on the inside, what I can control, right? I often say, master what you can master: the thoughts, your feelings, your words, your actions. But then it brings me into everything that I've ever been taught to believe and or want, value, or to put any sort of label on. So if I focus on all the things that I want, right? Why do I want these things? I've been pre-programmed to believe certain things. And what happens when we eliminate all the false teachings, all the lies, because most things are lies, right? Like the universe wouldn't have had social constructs, it wouldn't have labels, it would just exist as matter and energy. What happens when we escape all that because we no longer want to attach ourselves to lies? Where do we find ourselves? I mean, are we just in a universal state of pause? I mean, what happens to us when we want, need, desire anything? Because all those things are based around teachings that were lies. What happens? I don't know the answer, but that's how I get lost in the idea. Like, well, I need to have some kind of, or do I? I don't know. That's where I get lost.
I love that, James. Just hearing you say the word pause, because for me, the power is in the pause. Like if you really pause, went into stillness, silence, just paused with your in-breath, even before you speak, before any word come out, even though your mind's saying, say this, and you're saying this, if you just pause before you even speak what your mind wants to say and pause, you'll surrender a bit more into the openness of the pause, and then you'll speak from your heart. Like it drops you down when you pause. So even the power of our words.
That is so powerful. It kind of reminds me of what I was sharing with you guys before about the witness, right? Like think of even just think of in like a courtroom, the witness usually has a different perspective, right? Because they're watching from the outside. So in that pause, it gives you a chance to be the witness, to be the awareness, and to then be able to come from that really authentic place when sharing, because it's not from the emotional mind or from the mind that's just the monkey mind. It's coming from you as the witness, you as the awareness, you as the knowing, because everything that we need and ever need to say and everything we need to know is already within us.
Yeah, I love that, because that's how powerful the pause is. Like you're fully tapping into your awareness. Like you may not realize that, and it takes a little bit of practice to pause. But when you let your inner knowing answer the question, totally different connection. And what are we searching for? We're searching for connection, but our connection is the internal connection that we're truly wanting and desiring. And from there, we connect with all people. Everything becomes connected. The pause is powerful.
Love that.
I think I just had a spiritual awakening right now. Thanks, ladies. I think what happened is, so I was listening and I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know the answer. And I think back to my mom always says to me, and she's, my name's James too. James 1:5, when you lack wisdom, ask. So I asked, who do you want me to be? God? Who is God? Who do you want me to be? And then I thought about it, and for a split second there, I thought what you guys were talking about, and everything that I could possibly say to include this comes from my ego. So if God is without ego, God would never speak unless we spoke to him first. So if we don't ask the question, I guess we got to know the right questions. I don't know. Is there a right question to ask? And I guess if we were in his, I don't know. That just put me a place closer to rational. Like the wisest men or women don't speak because they wait to answer. But if no one ever talks to them, then they'll never talk back to you.
Yeah, sometimes the waiting is a good thing. Other times waiting is stopping the momentum of the connection. So definitely asking the question, but keep the question simple, because you're asking your beautiful childlike heart, the innocent, sweet heart of your internal self, your internal knowing. So keep it a short, simple question. And if it doesn't seem to resonate, ask it slightly different. Like, why am I here? What do I want? Like short and sweet questions. Is this true? Does this value me? This choice I'm about to make, does this value me? And you're asking your heart simply, and you wait for the answer in the space, in the pause.
You know what makes me sad? I don't usually get emotional, but if I were to follow this right here, what we're saying, and I only spoke when someone asked me a question, I'm scared no one would ever ask me any questions, and I would never get to speak. Like if I didn't speak first, I'm scared that I would never speak if I had to wait for somebody to ask me something. Shit.
Well, ask your own question. Why do I need to speak? You know, keep it a short question. Wait and pause for the answer in your heart.
Because I love people. I love people.
And then ask, why do I love people?
Gotta
like,
go
keep them short and sweet, because those questions are an access to the awareness of why you even have the need to speak more than just stay silent. And then you may be silent right now. Like the more you tap into that inner knowing, you'll get different answers, like be silent right now, and you know it's true. You know not to speak right now.
Yeah. That's powerful. That was a powerful insight. Huh. I guess this is what a teacher probably feels like when they are sharing information and she says, does anybody have any questions? And none of the students raise their hands. Ooh, that was deep.
Well, when no one raises their hands, you either take it two ways. Your mind either says, oh, they haven't understood me, or, oh, they've got no questions, I must have done the right thing. I must have shared what they needed. Like, you can take it two different directions. Oh, they mustn't have understood anything I said. Like, do you take it into victim, or do you take it into the knowing that what you shared was spot on and they're just receiving and processing all they've just learned? And so there's no questions needed.
That's powerful. That's powerful. No, I like that thought process. You control your thoughts, right? We're talking about tapping back into the inside. You're controlling your thoughts. So situation is situation, but how we perceive it is our choice. So if we can be, let's say, 0 to hero, right? Or like in Noble Goldman, we talk about collaborative and creative. If we look at every situation that we do and everything that we're interacting with as part of collaborating with other people, then we're in the highest form. And if it's love that is making us do what we do, no matter what it is, then we'll vibrate at a higher frequency.
Beautiful, James. And remember, when you're a young child and you need a cuddle, all you need is a cuddle. You don't need necessarily words. You just need someone to hug you. Sometimes words are not needed. So we're just discerning when you need to speak and when you don't. Like, we're just getting internal awareness to what we want, what is required right now for someone else, if you're even needed, whether you're just holding space of love and that's all that's needed. Some things, sometimes words aren't needed. Sometimes our thoughts definitely don't support what is needed. And sometimes no thinking at all is what is needed.
That's discernment, right? Knowing when to speak.
Yeah. So we're just practicing discerning and our internal knowing of what we really want and what we're really here for and why we want it.
We know why we're here.
Yeah.
We don't need to
I'm
keep
here
saying.
for connection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I don't mean here like with our conversation. So I think this conversation is just to guardrail each one of us on our paths. So love it. Love it. So
Beautiful.
sister,
Thank you, James.
yeah, my man. So Sister Callie, Tisha, I know you chopped off. I appreciate you two ladies. I'm gonna share this YouTube video on Facebook and stuff. I'm gonna tag both of you so that everybody can know what an impact you both bring. And depending on what you want, if you want to help people, I definitely want to help connect you with people, because when we help people, we make it a better world. We live in this world, so we generally impact our own benefit.
Yeah.
So, but
Beautiful.
thanks
Thank you.
Thank you for hopping on again, Callie. Hope you have a great day, morning in Australia.
Thank you.